Welcome to the Deep Dive Books channel, where we hope you find something valuable every day.
Today, let's explore a new framework for using your brain, from the newly released book, Hyper Efficient: Optimize Your Brain to Transform the Way You Work, published on September 17, 2024. The author, Mithu Storoni, is a neuroscientist and an ophthalmic surgeon. She consults for multinational companies on psychological performance and stress management. This framework is her own creation. It may not be widely known, but it is innovative and practical. You can easily grasp it after hearing it once. The brain doesn't work like a light bulb, emitting a constant power level. Even more complex devices, like vacuums, have moments of faster and slower performance. For instance, your vacuum cleaner might use a different power setting for carpets versus floors. Cars have various gears. Similarly, our brains function in different modes. While we don't have physical gears to switch, we experience varying states. Neuroscientists often categorize brain activity into three networks: the relaxed, default mode network, the task-focused, central executive network, and the salience network, that handles attention shifts. These networks can also be described as divergent thinking and focused thinking, or in terms of the well-known System 1 and System 2 thinking. We also talk about stress mode and relaxed mode, or whether someone is in a flow state. These classifications aren't contradictory. They simply come from different perspectives. Storoni introduces a new framework based on the release of norepinephrine, specifically for knowledge workers. She divides the brain states into three gear models. Gear 1. A relaxed, idle state. Gear 2. An efficient working state. Gear 3. A heightened, stressed state. Alternatively, we can think of this in terms of attention use. Gear 1 is when you don't want to focus, Gear 2 is when you concentrate, and Gear 3 is when external distractions make it impossible to focus. Our goal is to spend most of our time in Gear 2 while working, and in Gear 1 while resting, minimizing time spent in Gear 3. Now, let's break down these three gears. Gear 1 is like lazily lying on a bench, casually observing your surroundings without focusing on anything, letting your thoughts wander freely. You're completely relaxed, not concerned with external matters, and daydreaming. This is a resting state, and it helps clear mental clutter. While Gear 1 prepares the brain for creative thinking, it doesn't actually generate ideas because attention isn't engaged. Gear 2's defining feature is focused attention. Perfect for mental tasks. Reading, thinking, imagining, analyzing. All these require concentration. It's like focusing your camera on a subject and blurring the background. Gear 2 can be further divided into three regions. Low-energy Gear 2. Close to Gear 1, where you occasionally lose focus but quickly regain it. This state is ideal for connecting thoughts and triggering creativity. Great for creative work. Core Gear 2. A state of highly focused attention. External distractions and internal thoughts don't interrupt you. This is best for tasks requiring output but not much creativity, like solving routine problems. It's closest to the flow state. High-energy Gear 2. Here, you control your attention effortlessly while remaining highly sensitive to external information. You can quickly shift focus to new inputs. This is a state of passion, curiosity, and exploration, ideal for complex problem-solving and learning new things. Gear 3 occurs when the situation is urgent, external stimuli are overwhelming, or you feel immense stress. Your thoughts are hijacked, preventing you from thinking clearly and maintain focus. This happens, for example, when a doctor is performing an emergency procedure, or an athlete is in the middle of a competition. In these moments, you can't afford to think too deeply and just rely on your training. In Gear 3, because of the inability to think calmly, you're more likely to make mistakes, misinterpret situations, or make hasty decisions. Gear 3 also wears down the brain, creating mental clutter that needs to be cleared through rest or sleep. This is why it's important to minimize time in Gear 3. You can visualize this classification in a chart like this. As long as you can maintain focus, you're in Gear 2. If you can't, and you're immune to distractions, or easily drift into daydreams, you're in Gear 1. If external disruptions are overwhelming and you can't focus, you're in Gear 3. The benefit of Storoni's framework is its practical applicability. By consciously shifting between gears, you can manage your brain's state. Everyone's ability to shift gears may vary, depending on how sensitive they are to stimuli. People with ADHD, for instance, often find routine tasks boring and get distracted easily, so they spend most of their time in Gear 1. To move them into Gear 2, a strong stimulus is needed. But once in Gear 2, they can perform very well. Conversely, some people are highly sensitive to stimuli, getting anxious with the slightest disturbance, and may jump directly from Gear 2 to Gear 3, which isn't ideal. Moreover, people have different working rhythms. Some work best in the morning, while others are more productive at night. It's essential to structure the day according to these gears. Fortunately, there are general techniques to help us switch between gears. This is one of the most interesting parts of Storoni's book. She gathers various techniques for gear switching, supported by research. These techniques were scattered across studies before, and Storoni has consolidated them into a unified framework. How do you shift between gears? Let's start with the external environment. Cool, blue-toned lighting can increase alertness and help you shift to a higher gear, while warm, red-toned light promotes relaxation and brings you down a gear. If you find yourself too scattered and want to focus, opt for cooler lighting. If you're too stressed and need to unwind, warmer lighting will be more appropriate. Another factor is sound. Generally, higher frequencies, faster rhythms, and louder volumes help increase energy and elevate your gear, while lower frequencies and slower tempos help lower it. To wake up quickly in the morning, you can turn on the TV and listen to the news. Morning news anchors usually speak at a fast pace. As we've mentioned before, Scott Adams enjoys writing in places like cafes. This makes sense now, because the quietness at home is too distracting for him. He needs some background noise to shift into Gear 2 and enhance his focus. Another method is using physical movement. Any form of physical activity elevates your gear, and the more intense and prolonged the exercise, the greater the effect. This is why people with ADHD should engage in regular exercise. The effect lasts for some time after the activity ends. For example, if you're feeling sluggish and want to focus, try moderate exercise for 30 minutes. Afterward, you'll enter an elevated state for over half an hour. Studies also show that squeezing a stress ball for 18 seconds and relaxing for a minute can boost attention. Even clenching your fists can elevate your gear. Conversely, relaxing your muscles can lower your gear. This is why in techniques like NSDR, non-sleep deep rest, there's a step for scanning the body and relaxing progressively. Another way to downshift is through slow breathing. Storoni recommends inhaling for 5 seconds and exhaling for another 5 seconds, completing a 10-second cycle. This aligns with the physiological sigh stress relief method we previously discussed, as suggested by Huberman. Sudden temperature changes, whether hot or cold, can help upshift. For example, taking a cold or hot shower in the morning can quickly transition you from Gear 1 to Gear 2. One of the easiest ways to shift gears is through your gaze. Focusing on a single point, regardless of whether you're in Gear 1 or Gear 3, can swiftly bring you into Gear 2. Concentration naturally follows focus. The key is to choose a very small target. For instance, tennis players wanting to calm pre-match jitters and move from Gear 3 to Gear 2 can stare at a tennis ball. But not the whole ball, just a tiny seam or logo on it. Conversely, if you want to downshift, you should widen your field of view and avoid focusing. Experiments have even shown that raising your eyebrows, which broadens your gaze, can enhance creativity, effectively moving you into a low-energy Gear 2. On the other hand, furrowing your brows narrows attention, potentially reducing creativity. To move from gear 2 into 1 for rest, the simplest method is to briefly close your eyes. Another way to enter a low-energy gear 2 and boost creativity is to take a walk. Walking keeps you alert through movement, preventing you from slipping into gear 1. Meanwhile, the changing scenery keeps your attention dispersed, not fixed on a single point. Additionally, walking, unlike running, is relaxing and won't push you into gear 3. Drinking coffee or any caffeinated beverage works to upshift. If you're groggy and stuck in gear 1, coffee can lift you into gear 2. However, if you're already in gear 2 and fully focused on your work, there's no need for coffee. It might push you into gear 3, making it harder to concentrate and pick out signals from noise. It's especially important not to drink coffee right before trying to rest in gear 1. This concept is straightforward. The ideal working state is gear 2, where efficiency is high, and the brain isn't strained. Creative tasks are best done in low-energy gear 2, while meetings, intensive learning, and reasoning are suited to high-energy gear 2. For rest, such as sleep, you need to downshift to gear 1. If you're in gear 3, you should find ways to downshift, as tension leads to errors and harms your health. In summary, we must strategically utilize these 3 gears. Today's discussion covered how to manage different scenarios. In the next session, we'll explore strategies for time allocation. That's it for today's content. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
If you feel there is value in this, please like, subscribe to this channel, and leave your thoughts or suggestions in the comments section. Let's grow together and read more good books.